All righty. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody around the world. My name is Cyrus Janssen. We're coming live at you from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Guys, I want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and I'm excited to do this live stream. We're going to wait for everybody to kind of get jumped into the live stream this morning. Now, yeah, so we're going to have a special episode today, and this is actually my third solo live stream. So the first live stream that I did, we were talking specifically about the United States and China, the relationship between these two countries. The second live stream that we did, we talked specifically about the United States presidential election. I was sharing my thoughts, as an American, about the insights into Donald Trump, Joe Biden, what I think about this upcoming election that we're now, today is October 3rd, just 30 days away. And today what we're going to do is we're going to be celebrating 50,000 subscribers that we just recently passed, and doing a live question and answer. So basically, going to answer all of your questions live, and just really excited to be here. So first of all, I just want to give a big thank you to everybody in this community. I know that it's been amazing how much growth we've been able to achieve on the channel. And you can notice I always say we, because I really do believe that this is a good community. This channel wouldn't be successful without you guys, liking, commenting, sharing, and engaging with this content. And I really appreciate that. Earlier this year, around, let's say, August 1st, I think we had around 5,000 subscribers to the channel. Roughly 2 months later, we're at 50,000. So we've 10x'd in about 2 months, which is just very humbling. And I'm very honored and just so happy to, have each and every one of you here. So let's get going on this live stream, and let's have some fun this morning. So the last live stream that I did, I was really talking about the presidential election. I was very engaged, kind of delivering this content that I was supposed to. Today, I'm going to be a little bit better at making sure that I'm looking at this side chat here. And, I'm just wanting to make sure that I answer all your questions. So, Arby, good morning. Yin Ho Kor, greetings. All right. We've got, guess you just woke up early. I did. It is 6 a.m. here in Vancouver local time. So question, why am I streaming at 6 a.m.? Well, the biggest reason is I'm trying to let as many people around the world, be able to view this in the same day. And I also did a poll on my community tab asking what's the best time for everybody. Should I do it early in the morning for me here in Vancouver? If I'm 6 a.m. here, that's 9 a.m. obviously in New York. That's about 2 p.m. in the afternoon in Europe, and that's 9 p.m. in Asia. So we can kind of get everybody around the world. Granted, if you're in North America, it is getting up early in the morning with me here, but that's why I'm streaming here at 6 a.m. And yes, I am in Vancouver. Jeff Tao, 11 p.m. in Melbourne. Yuto, good to see you again. Evening from Malaysia. Lovely. 大家好. All right. Shame you're not of Iranian ancestry. That's true. My name Cyrus is an Iranian name, very common Persian name. All right. Goran, hello to you, Cyrus, and all other listeners. Annie, happy celebrations for the growth of this channel. Thank you so much. We got Senjo Tatahao. Hello, everybody. Good morning from Malaysia. A lot of people from Malaysia. Fantastic. Francis Lee, good day to everyone. Congratulations, Cyrus. Kevin P., you're living in Canada now. I am based in Vancouver, Canada right now, everybody. So, yes, I am going to be making a new video. I actually have recorded bits of it. I'm just kind of putting some pieces together, but it's going to be specifically talking about why I left China. And this is a common question that I get. Cyrus, why did you leave China? I lived there for 10 years. My wife and I have moved here to Canada. We're based here. So I'm going to be answering that question in an upcoming video, exactly what the reason is. Chung7656, Jiao. Thank you so much. What's all those things attached to your door frame in the background? Okay, so this right over here, these little things on the door frame right here. As many of you might know, I'm a golfer, and so I travel around the world playing golf. These are from different famous golf courses that I've played. This is a little bag tag from little golf courses. So fun fact there. I get this question a lot. What is, did you attend the University of Texas? Is this a Longhorn? This is actually The Rock, the famous, actor. The Rock. He has his own footwear brand. He partners with Under Armour. So I really like him. He's a great guy where he's very energetic, very passionate about what he's doing. So I just have that on the door for some extra motivation, just to get out there and go get it. All right. Stephen Cat, 9 p.m. in Hong Kong. Good morning, Cyrus and community. This is from the UK. Annie, great. Pedro coming in from Macau. David, congratulations. The channel deserves more audience. Keep up with your good work. I'm just so humbled by you guys. I'm really thankful for all of your support. As we're growing this channel, I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And, again, it wouldn't be without you guys, liking, commenting, and engaging. It is just so honored to be here. David Young is congratulations. 9 p.m. in Shanghai. You'll get to 1 million in no time. That would be unbelievable. All right. What's your stance on Taiwan, Andy Mai? We can start with that one. Greetings from Xiamen as well. Cebu City. Namaste from India. Is your Mandarin perfect? It's definitely not perfect. I have a lot to improve on. I still make mistakes with my tones all the time. I think my Mandarin is very good. But I can certainly get by. I can communicate. I think I would say it's relatively functional and relatively fluent. I do enjoy learning Mandarin. I'm learning Cantonese as well. But I did live in Shanghai for 7 years, and I was able to, my first job in China, I was actually a golf professional teaching golf in China. But I was managing golf courses, putting on events for clients like Mercedes-Benz. So I was using Mandarin every day. I spoke Mandarin a lot during work. So I've had a lot of time speaking Mandarin. I do enjoy it a lot. Can you see the smoke from California? Yes, actually here in Vancouver, we have had a lot of smoke. We've had a lot of wildfire, and we've had some really cloudy days. And, interesting enough, it actually has reminded me a little bit of China, just in the sense, before, like in 2007, when I first went to China, we used to have a tremendous amount of, pollution and things like this in China. I think China has really done a great job in reducing that in recent years. But yeah, we've had definitely some wildfire smoke and everything. All right. Hello from Indonesia. So my thoughts on Taiwan, I think this is an interesting one. I'm going to start with this question. This is a big question. It's interesting as we're seeing the United States right now, continue its anti-China battle. And my biggest worry is actually Taiwan. And this is the reason why, is because Taiwan is the one area that the United States is probably most defensive about, and no doubt will act the fastest if anything were to happen. I think right now, my hope for Taiwan and China, I hope that the status quo, basically the current relationship that is between these two places, can continue. I think that the current relationship is a good one, in the sense that, for instance, Taiwan, they have this special relationship with China. For instance, if they're in the Olympics, they cannot go under the Taiwanese flag. They have a special flag. They're still Chinese Taipei. It's not an ideal relationship, but it's one that's peaceful. It's almost like a ceasefire, if you will. And, I just get worried about with, you have the United States military, vessels there in the South China Sea. You have, the United States, you have China there. I'm just always worried that, someone's going to get a little trigger happy and possibly, hit a button and send off a missile or something. So, it's interesting when we look at Hong Kong or Inner Mongolia or Xinjiang or, Tibet, any of these areas, is not going to cause the U.S. to move militarily. But I guarantee you, obviously, if something were to happen in Taiwan, that is, the United States is going to move fast. So I'm just hoping right now, I think the most peaceful resolution is to keep it as is, and just keep that relationship and move forward. So that is my my thoughts on Taiwan. All right, we've got guys coming in from Shanghai. Let's see. Greetings from a Vancouverite living between Spain and China. Do you have any funny stories from living in the U.S., Canada, China due to cultural misunderstandings? Good question. Any funny stories? I think, I think what's really funny is, I remember when, I remember one of the funniest stories I had when I first went to China. I think this was like maybe my third or fourth year in China. I had a day off from work, and I was walking downtown, and I had on this really funny shirt. It was just like an "I love China" shirt, right? It was just I with the big heart, love China. And I remember, walking into the bathroom one day, and there was the cleaning lady there. There was two cleaning ladies cleaning the bathroom, and for some reason, instead of saying "ni hao," to them, I just said "hello, how are you?" Just in a very American way. And obviously these two cleaning ladies didn't speak English, and I just went to the bathroom, went to the stall, and I was hearing, these two ladies talk, and they're just like, 哎呦，你还记得那个以前上海没有老外的时候更好了，现在太多了老外了，and then they're just talking about how good it was before, before there were so many foreigners there, and so I just came out of the bathroom. I was like, 哎呦，但是你要知道，现在我们有很多老外都会讲中文的，要小心一点。And they're like, oh my gosh, they didn't surprise me to speak Mandarin. So I mean, it's funny. Sometimes you'll, here in Vancouver as well. If I'm on the golf course or at a supermarket or something, I love to surprise people speaking Mandarin. And they're, like sometimes I'll see, a lady trying on something at the store. She'll ask her husband. It's like, oh, 你觉得怎么样？好看吗? I was like, 真的不错的, yeah, and it's like, whoa, so just funny stuff like that. It's always fun to surprise people speaking Mandarin, but I try my best. I always like to be this, as you guys know, I'm trying to be a cultural bridge. I'm trying to help people understand more about China and everything. So let's see. We got Weibo Gunawan. I seldom subscribe, however, I did to yours. I love your plain true speech. I know so much from you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I just really really appreciate again all the support. Let's see. It's between the mainland Taiwan and Singapore how they manage their future. Western folks hand off. I agree with that. I mean, this is a big thing with me. As you guys know, I'm American. It's amazing how I mean, again, like we have so many U.S. politicians, and we just spend so much time. Sorry, not we. They spend so much time, interfering and really just talking about other countries. And my biggest thing, I mean, I'm American. It's like, look, let's focus on America. We have enough problems going on in America. We do not need to be talking about Hong Kong and other things. That is for, other countries and other, people to decide. How do you think of the fact that Trump got the virus? He's supposed to be well protected from that. Good question. I think, the reality is this is the nature of the virus, right? I think it was almost inevitable that at some point Trump was going to get it. He's, first of all, he doesn't really like wearing a mask. So it's not like he's been wearing a mask in good faith, the last few months. I mean, he's constantly surrounded by his staff. I mean, even in the height of the epidemic earlier, I mean, he was doing White House press conferences and, all of his staff, he's standing right next to Mike Pence. He's standing next to his staff, like no one's social distancing, no one's wearing a mask. I mean, my thoughts on Trump getting the coronavirus, I mean, statistically speaking, I think he has a very good chance of making a full recovery and really nothing happening of that. Obviously, I'm hoping that he has a good recovery. I would never wish bad upon anybody getting the coronavirus. I hate to see people saying, I hope he dies. I hope he gets sick. At the end of the day, whether you like Donald Trump or not, especially as an American, one thing that I was always taught is that you must respect your president. You might not agree with him, you might not like him, but you have to respect the president and you respect human life. I wish nothing but the best for Donald and Melania to recover fast. And I think he will. I almost think it will be, some fuel to his fire, if you will, in the sense that he's going to recover and he's going to come out and he's going to say, look, I beat COVID-19. Now I'm ready for another 4 years. I mean, that's my prediction on what's going to happen with Donald. So what is your favorite part of China? Let's see. My favorite part of China. My favorite part of China is the fact that China is so diverse. I've actually traveled a lot. I've probably been to about 50 cities throughout China. I love getting outside of the big cities. That is my biggest passion. So, I'll tell you the most interesting story. I was working with Mercedes-Benz in 2015, and we were doing different corporate events in different cities. And you were starting off in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, the big ones. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at these list of 10 cities and, the last one was Tangshan. Tangshan is up in the north. And I had never heard of Tangshan. And I was like, wow, I've lived here for 10 years. I've never heard of this city. So I'm researching it. And of course, Tangshan was very famous for having this huge earthquake. And that's really what it was known for. And I was kind of surprised. I'm like, why are we doing this event in Tangshan? Like, it just seems like there's so many other cities that we could go to. And it was amazing. What I was doing, I was working with Mercedes-Benz on their corporate golf side. And so we were actually doing a junior golf event. And I was actually the lead instructor. And so we were going to these cities and we'd have anywhere from 50 to 100 kids that would come and I would do a huge golf clinic teaching the game of golf. And what was amazing is we went to Tangshan and there was buses and buses of children coming off, and all of these kids had gotten the day off of school. So this, like, out of the 10 cities, this was the most populated spot that we came to. All of a sudden, there was 300 kids that had all got the day off of school, and they've all come to see me teach them about golf. And it was amazing. I mean, you have 300 little school kids, and the energy and the passion from these children were amazing. And afterwards, they took me to one of the famous restaurants in the city, and it was just amazing. It was so beautiful. It was actually, it reminded me of this Swiss cabin. It was all beautiful wood interior, and it was one of the best meals I've ever had in China. You know, we were eating all these interesting dishes, and it was just such a great experience. And, you know, here I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that I've been able to, you know, travel to these different parts of China, you know, to really see these small areas, you know. And I went to Chengdu, I went to the local restaurants there in these local villages. I was about 60 kilometers out of Chengdu, and we were in this local village where everybody's eating the rabbit head, tuto. And it was amazing. Like, you'd have literally two guys carrying in a bucket with probably 300 rabbit heads. And that was the local specialty there. And so everyone's got this rabbit head that's been fried and sauteed in all of these, you know, spicy oils, because everything in Chengdu is very hot, of course, in Sichuan. And, you know, it was incredible because I was like, so I've traveled all over. I mean, I love it all. And this is one of the things that, you know, as expats that have lived in China for a long time, we say China's more like a continent than it is a country, because it's so diverse and it's so unique. So I love everything about China. I love all of the differences. And I think that's what's just so unique. You travel in the United States, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty much the same wherever you go. But, you know, China is just so, you know, so diverse and everything. So MC, hello from Melbourne. Congratulations. Thank you so much. US should mind their business. Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. I got some super chats coming in, guys. So I'm going to do a good job to make sure that I don't miss any of these. Lucy T, little chat coming in. You are amazing. Thank you, Lucy, for sending the super chat. I thank you for your support and also joining us here today. Guys, thank you for taking time out of your day to join in. Again, if you're just joining the stream live, we've just hit over 300 people now live. And what we're doing today, we're celebrating 50,000 subscribers. Again, thank you to you for your support. And we're doing a question and answer. So if you have a question, throw it in. I'm going to do my best to answer every single question that I can. And I also want to just thank you for all of your support. I used to support China, but now I don't. Yeah, kind of against your rhetoric. That's okay. I don't mind people going against my rhetoric. I know that, you know, the world is too diverse for everybody to have the same thinking. You know, if you don't support China, that's okay. You know, but I do want people to be more educated about China, because I think many people in the West, they fear China, and it's just simply because, you know, they, they just simply do not understand it. And it's just crazy. The Western media is just does a terrible job. And this is one of the main points. And I went first into China in January 2007. From January 2007 to right now, I've never seen a Western media report that says something positive about China. And this is one of the most amazing things. One of my followers, he sent a great message. He said, Cyrus, it's statistically impossible for Western media to be 100% right and China to be 100% wrong all of the time. But yet that's what's being perceived, and that's what's being presented in Western media. So Lucy, thank you for that super chat. Got another question from Smile talking about the second debate. Will that be postponed? I would imagine that it will be postponed. Maybe Joe Biden is going to get the victory then, because, you know, Donald Trump can't show up. I think that's the only way Joe Biden's going to beat Donald in a debate. Thank you, Cyrus, from Chen Ziguang. Thank you so much. Annie, your intelligence, sincerity, and truthful expressions has been a great attraction for your audience. Thank you so much for that kind comment. Thank you. Let's see. Chen Ziguang coming in with the super chat. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. I just don't want to make sure I am missing any of these questions. Let's see. China has central one-party government, not communism. There are more millionaires in China than the United States. You know, this is true. I mean, this is the one thing. This is the thing that's really difficult to understand, you know, as far as the Americans' perceptions of China. I'll take you guys. I mean, I want to give you an example. When I was getting ready to go to China in 2007, I remember my parents threw a party for me. Now, this was December 2006. I had just graduated university. I was 23 years old, and I'm leaving for China in about a week's time. My parents throw a party for me, you know, just with friends and with, you know, close friends in my hometown of Orlando, Florida. And I want to kind of give you a little bit of perspective on what some of the typical Americans were saying. And again, these comments are not me making fun of Americans. I'm just sharing you with the questions that they were asking me at this time. So this is December 2006. I'm 23 years old and I'm getting ready to go to China. I've never been to China before. I'm getting ready to start my career there. And I remember some of my neighbors and my friends, they were asking me this, just like, Cyrus, you're going to live in China. Are you going to have to give up your U.S. citizenship to go work in China? And I said, well, no. I mean, I'm going to be an expat. Like there's many people around the world. You don't need to give up your U.S. citizenship. You just go to another country, get a work visa, and you can stay there. That was the question. They didn't know how this whole process works. Some people were so scared of that communism. They're just like, look, you're going to live in a communist country. You're not going to have any rights. You're not going to have any freedoms. It's going to be very difficult posting for you. And I said, well, China's developing. Like at that time, I'd never been to China. I said, look, China's developing. I've got a very good job opportunity there. And then I've had people, another question was, Cyrus, where are you going to be living? You're living in Shanghai. Does Shanghai have any electricity in the apartments that you're staying? And I'm just like, really? Like you're asking that question? So at that time, I remember pulling up my laptop and I showed him a picture of the Pudong skyline. I'm like, look at these skyscrapers in China. Like I've never been to China yet, but I mean, yeah, they have electricity. I mean, it's not, what do you think China is, right? I mean, it's in our news all the time that it's growing, the economy is growing fast. And, and even one of my other neighbor, just a really local, good guy. I mean, nice guy, but he's just like, well, Cyrus, I'm, getting ready for your road trip. By the way, how long is the drive to China? And I'm like, oh man, we're kidding, right? Like I'm from Florida. Like there's no possible way to drive to China. It's like physically impossible, right? There's an ocean there. I mean, theoretically, maybe in the heart of winter, maybe you could go up north through Alaska and maybe there's some ice that you could drive over. I mean, in theory, but obviously, no, it's impossible. So again, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to call out Americans as stupid or anything, but this is just people don't know. People do not know anything about China. And these were some of the questions that I was receiving, as I was getting ready to go to China. And this is where, I remember even my dad, when he came to visit me in October of 2007, one of the most amazing questions he said is he came to China and he's looking around Shanghai and he's just like, Cyrus, I cannot believe there's so many different banks here, and I said, oh yeah, we got China Construction Bank, China Agricultural Bank, Bank of China, ICBC. I mean, we've got tons of banks in China. And he said, well, I just thought it'd be a communist country. I mean, I thought there's one bank, I didn't even know Chinese people could have an own bank account. I thought it was just, communist China. And again, this is just the result of decades and decades of speech talking about communism. And that's the thing that's so interesting is, in America, when we hear the word communist, we kind of lump everybody together. So we're thinking Cuba, Fidel Castro, we're thinking North Korea, Kim Jong-un, we're thinking China, Xi Jinping. All of those are together. And obviously, we all know the three couldn't be more different than each other. And that is, this is why I'm trying to put out these videos to help people understand. And even here, I mean, here in Vancouver, I mean, I've had people that's like, well, I'm sure that many Chinese people would probably want to, leave China right now because of COVID, because they're just so scared. And I said, no, it's actually the opposite. We have friends and family here in Vancouver that are leaving Canada, and again, Vancouver has been one of the best places to be in North America for COVID, but they are leaving and going back to China because they have more faith in that Chinese government, to deal with this. All right, here we go. Let's get back to some questions. I once been to Tangshan. Very nice. I love that. Let's see. Do you think China will surpass the United States in technology, military, and economic based on what you see? Do you think China achieved huge success in AI, artificial intelligence, and 5G? Boris, great question. Do I think the United States will surpass the U.S. in technology? Absolutely. I believe that's already happened. I mean, you look right now at Beijing. Beijing is the #1 city in the world for unicorns. Unicorns are these private companies that are worth over $1 billion. Shenzhen is the new Silicon Valley. I mean, it's amazing is when you look at, do you think China's achieved huge success? Look at how they're dominating 5G. I mean, Huawei has done a phenomenal job in developing 5G technology. And this is exactly why the United States is going after Huawei. It's just simply competition. I mean, it's just simply the United States cannot match what Huawei has been able to produce. And the only way that they're going to do that is to attack them. That's the only way they're going to get that competitive advantage. And, it's really sad to see that, there all of these things, WeChat, TikTok, Huawei, anything that's Chinese, even Chinese international students, all of these are national security threats now in America. And of course, are they national security threats? Of course not. How is TikTok a national security threat? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. However, what's amazing is you look at how Facebook is, right? Facebook is such a terrible user experience, right? It is just loaded with ads, and Instagram loaded with ads. And you look at TikTok and you look at Douyin, the Chinese TikTok, it's amazing the experience it has for its users. There's significantly less ads, but China has proven to America that it's better at marketing to Americans than America itself, right? This is why TikTok's exploded. And so the only way they're going to catch up with this technology growth is to attack them and to try to take them out. So that's my thoughts on that. Here we go. Two really good questions. When will you come back to China? From Guo Xuanrei. So I was actually scheduled to come back to China this summer. My wife and I, we usually come back to China every summer. I usually come back by myself to China at least twice a year for business. Obviously canceled this year because of COVID. So we're now looking at coming back probably in the summer, maybe July and August next year. We're going to hopefully come back to Guangzhou, which is my wife's hometown. We're going to look to base there, probably stay anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks in China. So I'm very excited about that because I miss China so much. But I'm also excited because at that time, we're going to do a lot of live streams and a lot of great videos from China. So that is the plans tentatively, let's say, 10 to 11 months from now to be back. So a great question. When am I going back? This is a great question from NX. How do you feel with negativity from others online and real life regarding your views towards China? Dealing with negativity is something that you need to do when you're a creator online. One of the things that you have to realize is that you're never going to put out a piece of content that everybody's going to agree with. And do I get haters here online? Absolutely, I do. I do have to say, though, the vast majority of comments that I receive, well over 98% of them are very positive in nature. And I believe that the reason my channel receives a lot of positive comments is the fact that I preach cooperation, right? I'm really preaching the fact that we need to work together. And I'm not saying, I know there's some, YouTubers that actually are anti-America, saying like, look, America is horrible and China's good. And then the opposite's true. You have people saying America's good, China's bad. I think both countries are great. I want to see both countries do well. I'm American. Of course I love my country. That's where I grew up. I spent the first 23 years of my life in America. I am who I am today because of a product of my environment. I went through the American school system. I have a great advantage as an American. I mean, I remember when I first went to China in 2007. Again, my first job in China, I was a golf professional, and we had a golf professional from Scotland, from Canada, from New Zealand, from America, and from China. We had 5 golf pros. I would have people come in and say, I want to take lessons with Cyrus because he's American and America is the best. Now, I mean, I received a direct benefit only because I was American. Was it fair? No. Can I do anything about it? No. But I'm just saying that I am grateful for being an American, but I also want to be I want to be a light, and I want people to understand more about America because we often get, we often get stereotyped as well. A lot of Americans get stereotyped saying, look, Americans don't know anything about the world. They don't travel. I want to be that exception. I want to be that American that travels around the world, but also, understands other cultures and stuff. So, if you look at my videos, I think almost all of them have around anywhere from 96 to 98%, like rate. So, I get much more people liking the content than I don't like. And I don't mind people disagreeing with my stance on China. However, I just don't take anybody that has used profanity or slander. And, sometimes it's really difficult. I just feel bad for China because China gets bullied so much. And it's amazing to think that China, this growing power, and this super country, is just getting bullied. But again, China can never do anything right in Western media. I'll give you an example. Earlier this year, when China first locked down its economy and it locked down the China, New York Times published an article, because China is locking down its economy, that will have a ripple effect and it's going to affect the world. China is very selfish. And I said, look, this is so difficult because if China did not lock down, okay, to stop the COVID-19, China would have been ripped by the Western media, right? They would have said, I can't believe China's so selfish. How are they not, locking down? But yet when they do lock down, they're saying, you're selfish because now you're going to influence, the global economy. So I'm like, it's just a lose-lose for China. Like, you can never win in Western media. And I think that's just so unfair. So I think there's just so many things that Westerners don't understand about China. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, you're going to get some negativity, but I don't dwell on that because, again, I get so many more, positive, comments. All right. How do you think of communism in China? I think that it's very much misunderstood. I think that the Communist Party is doing a great job in China. What's amazing is in China you cannot change the party, but you can change the policies, right? In America you can change parties, but you cannot change the policies. That's the big difference. In China, we know it's a one-party state. You're not going to change the party, right? There's no way that American democracy is going to make its way into China. It's impossible. The Chinese government and Chinese people will defend that to the grave. I mean, they will go down and defend, their government right now. So you cannot change the party. China will always be a one-party state moving forward. I'm guarantee you that. However, you can see that China's one-party state is very progressive. Look at how many different policies they've changed and how they've adapted, and they are moving to make sure that China is growing in this rapidly changing world. The other thing, let's see. As far as the United States, I mean, it's just so difficult. Yes, we have two parties. You can change parties, but the problem is with America, it's so hard to make progress in America because nobody. It's hard to make the progress in America because the Republicans, I want to pass this law. Well, no, the Democrats are going to block it. Well, I want to do this. No, I'm going to block it. So you're constantly in this stalemate. That's why I want to propose a law. It takes 18 months to get the law passed because, there's 17 months of fighting before the law can get done. It's such an inefficient system. Whereas China, they don't have to worry about that. And this is what I say. One of China's greatest advantages, its greatest political advantage is that it does not subject itself to every 4 years of political turmoil and chaos in the country. Look at the United States right now. In an election year, we just tear ourselves apart. We tear each other apart. And it is so difficult right now because families are being broken apart because of political views. Friendships are being ended because of political views. And, politics, at the end of the day, we can talk American politics all day long, but nothing gets done. Nothing's going to ever, we just never can get both sides, coming together. And I believe that a big part of that is really social media, the tremendous amount of fake news that's in the Western media, the division that is caused just by, just separating the left and right. And, the left and right in America, ideally it would look like this, the right and the left, and you're close to that middle, which is Americans, but we're so far apart that, the right and the left just look at each other as enemies. So it's a really tough thing. Let's see. 我感觉 pro China 的内容应该更多讲给 English speaker Westerners. Yes, I think that pro China content you should be talking about more to English speaking Westerners. Yes, that's why I record a lot of these videos in English. I'm trying to, get these people to, I want to share my views with Westerners. So I know that we do have a lot of Chinese around the world supporting this channel. I'm very grateful for that. And I do see a lot of comments from people saying, Cyrus, I'm changing my views on China because of your videos. Cyrus, I'm wanting to learn more about these, about China. I had one guy say really interesting. He said, China, Cyrus, I've been very negative about China. However, after watching your videos, I'm starting to realize that maybe Western media is not telling the whole truth. So I'm wanting to now watch your videos and other China vloggers to try to get the second half of that story to better educate myself on my position about China. And that's what I want you to do. Take my information, watch other China vloggers, watch Western media, take it all in together. My thing is you cannot take everything Western media tells you and just take that as fact because it's not true. And a lot of the things is they like to paint stories in certain ways. So you need to. All right, let's see. All right, let's cherish this time, exchange questions between Chinese audience and American audience. Great. I heard that Britain has rabbit stew as one of its dishes. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Here's a question from Fireplace. Cyrus, can I ask you a question? Do you have any experience of convincing someone who is rabidly anti-China into being more moderate and tolerant of alternative opinions? Yeah, I think, one of the biggest things when you're dealing with people that are anti-China is you have to realize now. I kind of think of it this way. Most people that are anti-China, most likely they've never been to China in the first place. Okay, that's usually for the most part is 9 times out of 10 they've never been to China. Number two, the other thing is they really like to believe these extreme statements. For instance, in China, no one has personal freedom there. Everyone is a slave to the Communist Party. The Chinese people are completely cut off to the outside world. These poor people are demanding democracy. This is the kind of comments that you hear from somebody that's like this. And so this is my common thing is you just have to hit them with facts. Okay, Chinese are slaves. Chinese are cut off from the outside. Okay, well, here's an interesting point. If China wanted to cut off its people from the outside world, then why is the English language introduced at an early age, right? I mean, kindergarten and first grade, everybody is learning. I mean, English is compulsory, right? In order to, in China right now, you have to study English from a young age. It's mandatory, right? Kids are spending an hour a day from kindergarten through grade 12 learning English. If you graduate from a Chinese university, you have to take English classes. So if China is wanting to keep its citizens cut off from the outside world, why are they teaching them the universal language of English to understand Western cultures? In addition to that, why is China making, they're the number one tourist in the world. Last year, 150 million trips overseas. In addition to that, look at all of the Chinese communities around the world, right? So many of these families have, people that are living in different countries around the world, whether it's Australia or Europe or Canada or America, they're overseas. They're telling their friends and family back home what overseas is really like. Chinese people have all the information they want to know, so it's just naive for you to think that, again, we're going back to this common thing. You think that Chinese people are like North Korea, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Chinese people understand what's going on in the world. Look at the amount of millionaires that are being created. Look at the cities, right? Look at the city of Shanghai, how it's transformed in the last 30 years. But you don't need to go to Shanghai. Go to a third, fourth tier city. Look at the very small villages, how they're building roads, improving infrastructure, all of these things. You hit them with facts like that. And that is the biggest thing. When you hit them with facts, you cannot, they have nothing to say back, because these are facts, right? These are not, fabrications or anything like that. It's not opinion either. This is what's happening in China. So, and I always say, look, talk to your Chinese people. Go talk to Chinese people in Vancouver. Ask them what they think of their government back home. People don't leave China because they're desperate to leave China. They leave China to come to Canada because of an opportunity, right? Maybe it's an opportunity to study here. Canada is a very nice place to live, and essentially, I get a question asked a lot, Cyrus, why did you leave China? I left China because my wife is Canadian and we had an opportunity to come to Canada. And I'm going to explain this more in my upcoming video. But for me, as an American, I had an opportunity to come here only because my wife's Canadian. It's not easy for an American to come to Canada, but my wife's Canadian. My kids are Canadian. I'm not Canadian. But all of a sudden, now that I'm living in Canada, I have permanent resident and I'm 6 months away from also becoming a Canadian citizen. Now, this is the interesting thing. As an American, I really want to get Canadian citizenship because I want to have that stability. Canada is a very stable country. Unfortunately, as a foreigner, I cannot get permanent residence in China. They do allow it, but it's very special cases only, right? You have to be, very hard to get permanent residence in China. You're usually tied to a work permit. So as my wife was born in Guangzhou, but she is a Canadian citizen. So she does not have Chinese citizenship anymore. So it's interesting, like in order for us to work there, like to live in China, we have to have a work permit to be there. We cannot live in China because, some expats, for instance, if they marry a Chinese national, they can get a spouse visa. My wife is not a Chinese national anymore. She gave up her citizenship. She became Canadian. So for us, we're both foreigners, so it's an interesting thing. Like I would love to, base in China, but it has to be tied to, a work visa, and there's certain restrictions on that. But for me, I came here, to Canada because of an opportunity, and I definitely want to become a Canadian citizen because I just love Canada and how stable, this country is, and it's a great place to raise children. And but anyways, I'm also doing some amazing things, with the Chinese community here in Vancouver. So it's a great way for me to continue my time, my China story. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Here we go from Ting Ting, Zhu Ting Ting. That's why English Live is great. Yeah, I think we have some Chinese people here studying some English and listening to it. I get a lot of comments actually from people saying, Cyrus, your English is so clear. And I have some Chinese citizens say, look, my teacher found your videos and they said, watch your videos because you can practice your listening skills. I think that's great. So, I'm just happy to hear that, if you want to study English and listen, that's fantastic. Wang Tian says we want peace. Yeah, I think I think that's the biggest thing about China. And this is what I tell people in America. I said, America, we have this thing. China's trying to take over the world. China's trying to, China's trying to military dominate us. China's trying to corrode our democracy. I said, look, China does not care about the United States having democracy. China knows you're going to be democracy. Who cares? But the biggest thing is you cannot come into China and tell us what to do. That is China's stance. And that is my thing as an American. I said, look, China is never going to be America. America is never going to be China. Is America going to be communist? Of course not. We're never going to embrace communism. We're never going to embrace a one-party state. That is how America was founded. However, when China proves to the world that they can do it their way and they have a unique system that produces results, that's China's decision. Okay. So that's my biggest point is always let China be China. America, we got a lot of problems. Let's focus on there. Let's see. Have you always think why China have one-time system? Yeah, I think, just like we said, I mean, it really brings the country together. I'm a big fan. I love China's one-party state because of what it's done. You know what? You have to go on results. Look at what China has done the last 30 years. Name another country in the world that has progressed as much as China. Name another country in the world that has helped as many people in the world as China. If you take over the last 30 years, China's poverty alleviation accounts for 80% of the global effort. Okay. If you were to take out China's effort of the last 30 years on poverty alleviation, if you were to take that out, the world would have actually regressed, would have gone negative on poverty alleviation. Without China's effort, poverty alleviation over the last 3 decades would be a negative number. So China has done so much for its own people and for other people around the world. Guys, let's take a time out. We just passed 500 people now that are joined the live stream. I thank you guys so much. If you're just tuning in right now, this is a live Q&A. We're celebrating 50,000 subscribers. Again, honored, humbled. I'm so thankful that each and every one of you subscribe and engage in this content. And today is just an interactive one. We're taking questions. We're going to answer as many questions as possible, answer all the super chats, everybody going in. We just got a new super chat in. Where is it? I just seen it. Here it is. Trevor Norman. Thank you for the super chat. My 4-year great nephew knows quite a lot of English, although his mom and dad and grandmother do not speak English. He will learn more when he goes to school. Absolutely. This is the most amazing thing. When I was back in Shanghai last year for business trip, I was back in September 2019. That was my last business trip back to Shanghai. And it was amazing. I was walking in a neighborhood past a local school, and I just love speaking English. I just want to go up and speak English with the kids. And I was amazed that they all want to come up and talk to me speaking English. I got in a taxi cab, and I was impressed. The taxi driver just started speaking English to me. And I mean, when I first went to China, I couldn't, you couldn't speak English in a taxi cab. It was impossible. Everybody spoke up. So it was incredible to see this, how fast China is improving. So, all right, here's a question. Speaking the truth about China, don't you feel, scared for your safety? To be honest, I don't really feel scared about my safety because, again, I always take the angle is I'm really preaching cooperation. Again, I'd feel for my safety, for instance, if I said I'm anti-America, and there's some Americans that, that have fallen in love with China and have really, start putting out some really anti-American content. I will never do that. Again, I am very much preaching both sides will win. The United States and China, if they work together, the world wins. You guys hear me say that very often in my videos. So I don't fear for that because, I do believe that I am patriotic. I love my country, but I love China as well. And I want the best for both. And that's kind of my angle. And that's what I'm hoping. So let's, what is your favorite Chinese drama, Cyrus? I got to be honest, I don't watch a lot of Chinese television. I don't watch any Chinese drama. So Let's see. Cyrus, here's a new question coming in from Noel Law. Cyrus, will you consider working with someone who share your mission, such as Nathan Rich? Also, ignore the trolls. Yes, Noel, definitely got to ignore the trolls. Again, I don't get a lot of trolls. Would I consider working with a guy like Nathan? Nathan Rich. I like Nathan. I think he does an amazing job with his content. I'm a big fan of Nathan. I haven't reached out to him personally. We are connected on LinkedIn. We've just had a couple of chats here and there. But I'm a big fan of his content. If there's an opportunity to work with him, I would definitely be interested. So who knows? Maybe when I go back to China and Beijing, we can meet up. We'll see. But yeah, as you guys know, I do collaborate with other China, YouTubers. You have seen me. I kind of made my debut I'd say about now almost 10 weeks ago. I made my debut on the Let's Talk China show, where I started, meeting a lot of the other China vloggers that are out there. So yeah, I mean, I'm always up. Anybody that wants that is pro-China, but anybody that's anti-China. I mean, if they want to, I mean, if you want to have a civil discussion, I think that's great. I'm up for anything. So. Here we go. Simon Barnes coming in with the super chat. Congratulations on nearly getting your citizenship. That is a difficult thing in any country. And yes, it really is a difficult thing to do. Again, it was very difficult for me to come here as an American. It took me about 18 months to, get my permanent residence here. It was a very long and complicated process. This is a funny story. One of the things that happened is that when I came to Canada, I had to show them a police record of where I lived the last 10 years. Now, the last 10 years, I actually lived in China, of course. So I'm here in Canada, and I basically have to get police records from my time living in both China and Hong Kong. Now, this was the interesting thing from the Canadian government. They said, look, we want to have your employment contracts. We want to see, all of your past stuff where you've lived the last 10 years. Well, 10 years ago, the company that I worked in China. It was actually at a golf driving range, and that driving range, that company now has been dissolved, and that golf driving range has been bulldozed and now built, apartment buildings. So the building that I used to work at does not exist. The company that I used to work for does not exist. So I did not have an opportunity to get those documents for the Canadian government, which was really difficult for me getting my police, my police records. So I had a very difficult time getting these police records. So anyways, I could get records on 8 of the 10 years. I could not get records because those first 2 years in China, it was just impossible, right? I couldn't get an old contract. I couldn't get those records. So I had to write a huge letter to the Canadian, immigration, and basically explain this to them and say, look, I cannot give you a record on years 2007 and 2008, my first 2 years in China. However, I can guarantee you that I've had good status in China during those 2 years because I was able to get 8 consecutive work visas in China starting from 2010 onwards, 2009 onwards, because, obviously if I committed a crime, in China, I wouldn't have been able to get renew my work visa. So anyways, the Canadian government, gave me an exemption on those first 2 years, but it was a very difficult thing, to get that. Let's see. Senzo, do you enjoy listening to Mandarin Chinese music? I do enjoy listening to Mandarin Chinese music. I love listening to. I used to go to KTVs in China, with friends, and we would sing. You get into the culture, right? So I would learn some Zhou Jielun. He's a favorite. Obviously big Taiwanese, singer, and a lot of the classics. I mean, every foreigner, we know the song "月亮代表我的心." The moon represents my heart. Of course, we just had the Mid-Autumn Festival. So wish you guys also a happy Mid-Autumn, that we just had. So yes, let's see. Another question coming in here. Do you regret that you didn't take your mom to Canada and stay together in Vancouver earlier this year? You seem to be worrying about the situation she is in Florida. I do regret a little bit that. I really wish that my mom could have come to Canada earlier this year before the travel ban happened. And, it's difficult too, though, because I think for my parents being in Florida, my parents are in Orlando, Florida. It's been pretty difficult for them. But the problem is they're very connected into their life there. They have, my dad still works. He has a construction company in Florida that he manages and operates. And so they love coming to Canada, but they're very much plugged into their network. So I don't think they would have came here instead, stayed for a long time. I wish they would come. But anyways, we're moving forward. So here's another question. Mr. De Jong, Wang Dezhong's my Chinese name. Mr. Dezhong, do you think the relationship between U.S. and China will improve after the presidential election this November? You know what? I do think it's going to improve, and I am very optimistic about this. And the reason for this is that I believe it has to improve. China and the United States cannot continue down this road of tension that is going to lead to a Cold War because, at the end of the day, for instance, Donald Trump, he is successful. He bases his success on his success as a president is based on the success of the United States economy and jobs created and the stock market. And the reality is for Donald Trump, he knows that a conflict with China is going to devastate the United States economy and the world economy. At the end of the day, the United States is going to have to, deal with China, and they're going to have to resolve their issues. I think what's interesting is you see this deal with TikTok, right? Donald Trump comes out and says, we're going to take over TikTok. I want Microsoft to buy it. And when they buy it, they're going to give a cut back to the United States Treasury. But now we're seeing the judge is saying, look, we're not going to do that. We're actually it's going to be structured an entirely different deal. Maybe TikTok sells its operations to Oracle and Walmart, but they're still going to have the algorithm. They're going to make a deal that's going to work. It's not going to be what was originally proposed by Donald Trump. It's not going to be outright, it's not going to be an outright buy from the United States. They're going to have a partnership, but China's going to retain the most important part. For instance, that algorithm and the secret sauce of that formula is still going to be there. So, I think we just got a new super chat in. Ellen Feng, Jiao from Hong Kong. Thank you, Ellen, for the super chat, and thank you so much for the support to the channel. We will definitely Jiao or Gaiyao in Cantonese. We're going to keep it going. Yeah, I heard that Oracle and Walmart only hold about 20% share of TikTok. Exactly. So it's going to be structured totally different. And that's kind of what I think you're going to see with Donald Trump, right? He's going to come out with something that's very over the top. America, we're going to buy TikTok and we're going to make that American. Well, not really. TikTok's going to allow basically a U.S. partner to manage the operations, but it's still going to be, going back to Beijing. Beijing's still going to have that. They're not, it's just not fair. I mean, I think what's interesting is when you look at the Huawei ban, it's so tough because, Huawei is making amazing technology, and Huawei is a hardware company, right? They're making the 4G and 5G cell towers. They're making, the technology that we can have all of these, these amazing communication devices accessible. And they're helping. I mean, I think there's a stat, 80% of the world's top 50 telecom companies in the world. So all of these companies around the world, 80% of the top 50 in the world are working with Huawei. So it doesn't matter where you are on the globe, whatever continent you're in, Huawei definitely has a big part in that. And I do believe that, China is doing a great job helping other countries around the world. You look at the continent of Africa, there's not a single country in the world that has done a better job for the continent of Africa than China itself. And people don't like that. People will say, no, Cyrus, what China is trying to do is they're trying to indebt all of these poor countries and basically seize all their assets. It's an aggressive, hostile takeover. I don't agree with that. As an American, look at the United States and what we've done. Great example is you look at the country of Chile. The United States went into Chile in the 1960s, and the country of Chile is the longest country in the world, and it's very thin, from west to east. At some points it's only 30 miles wide, the country of Chile, but it's, several thousand miles long. It's a very interesting landscape. So to develop those telecommunication, cables in Chile was a very strenuous task. Now, the local government couldn't do it. United States went in the 1960s and they built all those telecom communications in Chile. But of course, they were all tied back to U.S. corporations. All of them were making U.S. shareholders wealthy. That is how business works. China, the United States did not go into Chile thinking, we need to go help these people. And, we're just gonna give them this telecommunications. Obviously, the Chilean people benefited from that, and the United States made profit from it. I mean, this is a profitable venture. So is China making money off of ventures by going into Africa? Yes, they are. They absolutely are. But they're also building roads. They're building airports. They're building schools. They're improving the infrastructure there. They're also teaching African kids how to speak Chinese. People are saying, oh, I can't believe that they would enslave these African children and make them learn Mandarin. Really? Mandarin's the most spoken language in the world. It's a huge asset. On the flip side, you come to North America here in Vancouver or in elite schools and high schools in America and Canada, and you see, parents are paying premium money to have their children learn Mandarin. So it's this huge double standard that exists. So, and anyways, let's see. Let's get back here and answer some more questions. I'm gonna have a little water, and we'll keep going. All right, here we go. I love this guy, Jack Black. You are a shill. This is the guy. This is Jack Black. Doesn't worry. I know that you comment on some of the things, and you want to hate. Doesn't matter. But when you come out with comments like that, there's no substance to it, right? Back it up with some facts. All you do is you're just going to name call. Do you think that hurts my feelings? No. I've lived in China for 10 years. I have a tremendous connection with the Chinese community. Look at what's happening in China today. Just go to China. Go experience it for yourself. So, Jack Black, I still love you, buddy. I'm not going to hate anybody. Don't worry about it. You can come here, no problem. All right. Even Trump's kids are learning Mandarin. Absolutely, they are. It's the most spoken language in the world. It's a huge asset. Why wouldn't you want to learn Mandarin? I think the relationship between the United States and China is going to improve immediately after Trump comes out of the hospital. It's a wake-up call for him. He realized life is short. Conflict is not purpose. Possibly. Let's see. I think somebody asked me earlier, what is your thoughts on the presidential election? I think Donald Trump's going to win. I think Donald Trump is going to win. I think he's going to win actually by a landslide. I think that what's really amazing is when you look at Donald Trump has a tremendous following within the United States of America. Anybody outside of the United States of America does not like Donald Trump for the most part. It was really interesting to hear. I've had a lot of friends ask me, in Canada, what is the general view towards the presidential election? I think most Canadians, would definitely say that they prefer to see Joe Biden win. I think many people in Europe, Australia, I think pretty much generally speaking, I think more people would want to see Trump replaced, as the president of the United States. However, within the United States, he does have a very big following. And I think that he will win. Let's see. All right, let's go. It's really nice to dream, but I wouldn't count on a change of heart from Donald Trump at this point. You never know. Hi, Cyrus. You say a lot of good stuff about China. A lot. Are you sponsored by the Chinese government in any way? I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not sponsored by the China government, and this is one of the things that that people say. Cyrus, you're a CCP shill. You're a 50 cent. The Wu Mao. The 50 cent. I'm not sponsored by the Chinese government in any way. What I do is I have a passion for China because one, I've lived there for 10 years. But the other thing is one of the things that I cannot stand is racism. And unfortunately, the way that Chinese people are being treated. I mean, look at how international students in America are being treated right now. I feel so bad for the Chinese students that are in America because you have so many of them, come and they want to learn. They want to learn, about America. They want to improve their English. They want to earn a degree, and then they're going to go back to China and get a good job and and receive that Western education. But now the U.S. government is saying essentially all of these people are spies. And and they're just really painting a bad picture on everybody. And I just don't think it's fair. I just don't think it's fair. And I know that it's not true. You cannot say all of these, we have hundreds of thousands of Chinese students that are studying in America. We're just going to assume they're all Chinese spies. Come on. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Did I watch the debate? I watched a little bit of the debate. The debate wasn't really, this is the interesting thing about the American debate is you can see what Donald Trump has done to politics in America. He has made it more of a entertainment factor, right? And this is why Donald Trump was elected in 2016. He was elected in 2016 because of the fact that he is entertaining. That is a fact. And the reality is that Americans can connect with him because Donald Trump, when he goes on a debate, he's going to say rude things. He's not going to act presidential. He's going to say whatever he wants. And actually, to be honest, I think that's what a lot of Americans love because he's not that standard politician. So it's really entertaining. I mean, he is incredibly entertaining to watch because, Joe Biden will say, Donald Trump, you didn't finish, what you started. And, he'll come up with, you'll be surprised how I finish, right? Like he'll come up with these quick-witted responses that, it's like watching two people just duke it out in this, and it's just over the top, to be honest. But that is what American politics is right now. All right, let's answer a few more questions here. So true. Many very smart Chinese people have been contributing to science and technology in the U.S. This is one of the things that I want people to realize. Have a think about this. China has sent its brightest and best minds overseas to places like America for decades, and many of them never returned back to China, right? You got to imagine the first Chinese students that were leaving China back in the 80s and 90s. If you were leaving China in 1990 and coming to America, you most likely did not return to China, because at that point, it was much better for you to live in America than it was to live in China. Now, but right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing that China's rise and growth over the last few decades has really made China an amazing place to live. And for Chinese nationals, they're realizing it's like, look, I want to go get educated in America because, let's face it, America does have an amazing education system. The university system is great. They can learn all of these great things from America. However, the quality of life in China is just as good, if not better, in China than it is in America. And that is why I think it's so appealing for expats like myself. I mean, my quality of life in Shanghai was fantastic. It was better than I had in America. And I was an expat. I enjoyed my life, living in Shanghai. And one of the interesting things about Shanghai that I always said is when you're living in a city like Shanghai, it doesn't matter what budget you are on. You can have a great experience, on a cheap or an expensive budget. So if you're an expat making six figures, making a huge salary, you can go down to the Bund, you can go to the 5-star restaurants, you can go to the really high-end bars and have an amazing experience. But if you're, earning a modest salary, you can also go to local restaurants and go out and have great time with your friends. And you have really a very big choice of options. And I think that's the great thing about that, right? You can take taxis in China. One of the things as expats in China, you never worry about drinking and driving because we don't drive. You can take a taxi everywhere. It's very affordable. We have, great restaurant scene. We have, amazing programs for our kids in China. I mean, all of these things, living in big cities like this is, a really great conveniences. Living in a place like Shanghai or Beijing is no different than living in London or Paris or any other world-class city. I mean, there really are, amazing places. What is your thoughts on Antifa? The United States it's just a mess right now. I mean, there's just so many different, organizations and, chaos going on. I mean, I don't really know what to think about it. This is the interesting thing. I left America 13 years ago. I just passed 5,000 days. 5,000 days ago, September 20th was my 5,000th consecutive day living abroad. So I've been living abroad a long time, 13 years now since I left America. It's very difficult for me as an American to actually look back at my home country right now. It actually makes me incredibly sad, to be honest, because the America that I grew up in, I grew up in the 1990s, right? In America, in the early 90s, I was a kid. I mean, it just seemed like a much simpler time in America. Everybody was happy. The economy was good. There was just much more unification. And you see the division that is being created in America right now and the chaos. And this is the thing that I really don't like when people are talking about, China doesn't have human rights. You want to know what the most basic human right is? The most basic human right is safety. And America cannot guarantee safety for its citizens in the streets of America. That is the biggest difference that I see right now. So you have China that is one of the most safest places in the world. Chinese people and foreigners, you can go out at any Chinese city at 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning. You can walk around. You are never going to experience a problem. You cannot do that in any major city. I was back in Orlando, Florida a few years ago. And I went back to my hometown. I went to an NBA basketball game, and I was leaving the stadium. It was about 10:30 at night, and I'm driving out, and I take a right turn down this neighborhood, and immediately I get pulled over by a police officer. And I had one beer at the game, so I was just like, okay, I'm okay. Like maybe he's going to check me because I came from the basketball game. Maybe he's going to ask me if I was drinking. So he pulls over and he says, "Excuse me, what do you think that you're doing?" And I said, "Oh, sorry, officer, I'm just going home. I just finished the basketball game." He said, No. I understand. What are you doing in this street right now? You are in, a gang street. You cannot be here as a white individual. You are in a gang street. And I said, oh my gosh, I have no idea. Like I'm 2 blocks from the stadium and I grew up in Orlando, but yet I'm an expat. So I'm kind of going back to the city. It's like, yeah, you need to follow me and get out of this area as quick as possible. And it was really hard for me to see because I'm like, wow, like you're in downtown Orlando. and I took a wrong turn, and all of a sudden I'm in this area of the city that I'm not supposed to be in based on the color of my skin. And I'm not trying to say anything racist or anything, but this is if I got pulled over from an officer, because of this, this just shows you, there's just huge safety issues right now. And what's really difficult is my mother's 76 years old. This year she bought a gun for the first time. She bought a gun in America because she said, Cyrus, I honestly do not feel safe in my own home, and I need to buy a gun because there's so many robins, there's there's home burglaries, there's all of these problems that are happening in our own city, in Orlando, Florida, and I'm 76 years old and I'm scared for my life. And one of the things I'm gonna share this in an upcoming video, but I'll share it with you guys. My mom had a really heart-to-heart conversation with me, and she said, Cyrus, I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for our family, but the thing that I'm the most grateful for is I'm glad that you left America. And that really hit me hard when she said that comment. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm not anti-American. I'm not saying that America's a bad place, and I'm not trying to paint you this picture that America is this awful place. But America has some very big problems right now, and this is why I think it is just so ironic when you have United States senators traveling to Hong Kong. Josh Hawley, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, look at these brave patriots. Look at these people in Hong Kong. They are fighting for democracy. These people are amazing, but yet we have rioters on the streets of America that are doing the same thing. And it's like, we got to stop these people. I mean, the double standards is just ridiculous. And, this is the problem. You cannot guarantee safety. I had a friend of mine, again, I'm not trying to paint this one-sided picture about America. I'm just telling you, this is real life experience from my life. I had a friend of mine. He manages a private country club in South Florida. He had one of his employees was driving home 10 o'clock at a gas station in West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm Beach is a very affluent city in South Florida. 10:30 at night, she's filling up her car, and she was shot and killed on a robbery. Guys pull in, just bam, shoot her. Take her purse, go inside, bam, shoot the guy, rob the cash register, and they're off. I mean, this is America right now. It is so dangerous that, and this is the thing, like, that does not happen in China. You have a tremendous amount of safety. And, this is the thing that, I've get questioned before, Cyrus, what do you feel? You're an American, you can't own a gun in China. How do you feel safe in China? You don't need a gun in China. I do not believe that guns provide extra safety. I know that America, we obviously have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I'm not a big gun fan. That's not one for me. But it's amazing. I remember living for 7 years in Shanghai and just remembering the peace that you have. Right, you never have to worry about getting in a gun crime. You don't have to worry about being shot because guns are not in the society, and it's a very reassuring thing. So, sorry, I'm going off a little bit on tangent here, but anyways, let's get back to some of these channels and, just talking. So everybody, we're at just over 560 people here live, and, very happy, to be here with all of you. So send in any other questions. You nailed it on safety, Cyrus. Absolutely correct. Yeah, basic human right, food, shelter, healthcare, education. You look at schools in America, the teachers are so underpaid. Schools, are struggling with budgets. There's just so many things. This is a really interesting thing as well. I've never shared this. You want to know the biggest difference between the United States and Canada? This will absolutely blow your mind. This blew my mind as an American. When I came to Canada, I learned this. In Canada, you have 12 months of maternity leave in Canada. 12 months. Now that just got extended. So this is what's amazing in Canada. When a woman gets pregnant and she has, a child here in Canada, you get 12 months of maternity leave. Now that 12 months is paid maternity leave, where I believe you're going to earn something like, let's call it 50 to 70% of your salary. I think it's 70%, something like that. And the employer and the government help pay for that. But let's just say you earn around 70% of your salary while you're on that 12 months maternity leave. And now Justin Trudeau has passed a new law, I think it came in effect about a year ago, saying that you have the option to extend an additional 6 months. However, those additional 6 months are unpaid. But essentially, you can take 18 months of maternity leave in Canada, to take care of your child. In the United States, it is a maximum of 10 weeks. My wife is very proud of the fact that, I think we're losing our connection here. There we go. Okay, just had a message. So, anyways, my wife is very proud of the fact that we had our twin boys. We have twin boys. Actually, they just turned 2 yesterday. I had a 2-year-old birthday, October 2nd. My twin boys just turned 2 yesterday, so big celebration for us. But anyways, she was pregnant here in Canada, and this is this is why Canada is such a nice place, because Canada prioritizes the future generation. Okay. How do you expect to develop your future leaders of your country if you're sending your kids to daycare at 10 weeks old? This is a huge difference. This is a huge difference. And I believe this is why Canada produces really some amazing people, and why the people here in Canada are so friendly, the society is so friendly, is because a mother is meant to spend that first year with their child. I have friends in America that after 6, 7, 8 weeks, they have to go back to work and put their children at 8 weeks old into full-time daycare. How is that the policy in the world's richest and most powerful nation? These are the things that America really needs to improve on. Even in China has much better maternity leave. I know in Tibet as well, it's well over 12 months of maternity leave. These are things where Americans are saying, look, you need to improve human rights in China. You know what? We need to improve human rights in America. It is ridiculous. And so don't hit me with these double standards. I'm very passionate about this. We have a lot of things that we need to improve on in America. So here we go. Bye, Ray. It is always enjoyable to listen to your live chat talking about China. Bye, Ray. Thank you so much. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of some things that we're working on. We're going to wrap this up in a little bit. So throw in any last questions. Throw in any last questions that you have. Here, Kevin Law, he said, yes, sure, Canada, I pay 52% taxes and other contributions. What's really interesting about this? I get a lot of questions as well. Why do you live in Canada? Taxes are so expensive. What's interesting? I don't mind living in a country with high taxes, because I see the government is reinvesting those taxes into the country. In Canada, there's so many programs. We have amazing community centers. We have amazing social benefits. We have, my twins were born at, the Vancouver hospital here, BC Children's Hospital, one of the most amazing hospitals I've ever been in. My wife had complications when she gave birth to the twins. Here's a side fact. Actually, our twins were 9.5 pounds each. 9.5 pounds each. We actually set the record for the biggest twins born in Canada. How about that? Pretty cool fact. And my wife's Chinese, so she was like really honored to have this record. But it absolutely wrecked her, right? And so she had complications from the birth because of the massive size of the twins. She went into hemorrhaging. She lost a tremendous amount of blood. She had to have an emergency surgery. We were in the hospital for up to 8 days. I think it was 7 or 8 days afterwards as she was recovering. But the issue is we were at this world-class hospital, and even me as an American, it was so weird for me. After we were discharged from the hospital, I'm like, well, what do we need to do? How do we, what's the bill? Do I need to sign anything? And it's like, no, you guys are good. You guys are covered on the healthcare system. Everything is perfect. You don't have to pay for anything, not a single thing. And I just said, wow. If we're in America, you have a baby in America, it's going to cost you a minimum of $10,000. But if you had a complication like that, where you had to have an emergency surgery and you had to, stay 8 days in the intensive unit, that bill would have been $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in America. And, the healthcare system is crazy. So anyways, a couple things. So bye, Ray. Now, recently, last week, a couple weeks ago, I launched a Patreon account, and I want to talk a little bit about my Patreon account. So if you are interested to join my team here, and what I mean by my team is this is a group of insiders where you can basically contribute money from Patreon, and I'm going to actually reinvest those. Oh, hold on. I got a message that my connection is unstable. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. So I'm going to be taking 50% of the funds that we receive from Patreon, and I'm going to be reinvesting that into the channel. It's going to go for translators, for video editors, for new equipment, everything that's going to help this channel grow faster as we continue to grow. Now, the other 50% we're actually going to be donating to a local orphanage in Beijing. So this is a really cool way that I can give back to China. My wife and I have supported this orphanage called the Blue Sky Healing Home. It is located in Beijing, and we've been supporting that orphanage for about 8 years. Now, if you're interested to support this channel and also help some of China's orphans, I invite you to join that Patreon page. What we do on Patreon is I give all of my Patreon subscribers, basically you get inside access to a lot of the content that I'm producing. So recently I'm sharing a new video tomorrow. I've already released that on there to my Patreon subscribers. They're able to view that early. But I use it as kind of a live chat thing. It's really fun as I try to do a few posts a week, kind of checking in with my Patreon saying, this is what I'm working on. What is your thoughts on that? I like to connect with them. So anyways, Bai Ray is one of my Patreon members, and I'm so grateful, for the support. But anyways, if you're interested in that, click the link down below, and let's do this. Let's answer 2 more questions. We're going to answer 2 more questions, and then I'm going to tell you about a new video that I'm dropping tomorrow. And here we go. Okay, this is a really cool one. True, my daughter was born premature in Miami and stayed in the hospital for 5 weeks. Bill was for USD $100,000, and I got a 40% discount after bargaining, and that was 20 years ago. Here's the interesting thing about America. America does not have a healthcare system. America has a healthcare industry, and that is a huge difference because in America, it is all about profit. And this is what I say. I often say this. If you have money, if you have a lot of money, there's probably not a better place to live in the world than America, but you have to have that money because if you have enough money, you can pay for private insurance, you can pay for the things that you like. So that's what the advantage is for America. Because if you have a lot of money, no problem. Like America does have amazing healthcare systems. They have healthcare facilities, but you just have to pay out of pocket for it or buy really expensive insurance policies. But here you go, the 40% discount after bargaining. That's so true because what happens is you're constantly in a battle between, the hospital and insurance companies. So it's almost the hospital is going to open up with a really high price because they know the insurance company that's going to have to pay for part of that is going to bargain with them. So it's all about making money. It's all an industry there. Trevor Norman, Cyrus, do you have a Bilibili account? I've just started a Bilibili account. I have not actually uploaded a first video there. I'm just getting that started, but I will be doing some more stuff on that. All right, let's do 2 more questions. Let's see. What is the average Chinese people view in China towards American attitude? I might not be the best person to answer this because obviously I'm not the average Chinese person, but from what my feelings are, I know that many people in China actually support Donald Trump. And I think they're supporting Donald Trump right now because, it's like you just see, look at the last 4 years. Look at what China's been able to do. China's improving and getting better. America is regressing. So it's almost kind of the fact like, hey, you know what? If you want to continue attacking China, China, we're only going to get better. We're only going to keep, if you were going to invest in a stock, if China and the US were a stock, I'd be investing in China right now. I mean, I'm very bullish on China's future growth. So I think that, China are very much, very, very proud of their, they're very proud of their country and it's going to continue to go. U.S. Congress is so anti-China. How can you be optimistic about the future of the 2 countries? You know what? I'm just optimistic because they have to make it work. You have to make it work with China. Again, I'm optimistic in the sense that if you go down this road and you go in a war with China, that's going to devastate your own economy and it's going to devastate the world economy. So you're going to have to change. All right. China is a bit Canada. All right. Do you think Trump will be able to postpone the election due to his contraction of COVID-19? Frankie, I do not. I believe the election, it's a month from today, November 3rd, the election is going to have to go forward. And I believe Donald Trump wants it to go forward as well. He'll be recovered from COVID. I think he will do that. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit of things. So click the links down below if you're interested to, join the Patreon account, if you want to get more exclusive content. But also, I want to tell you about the next video that I'm going to be releasing in less than 24 hours. Now, I've teamed up with another YouTuber called Alex. Alex is from Reporterfy Media. You guys will have known Alex. He is the host of the Let's Talk China show that I was on, I believe, 3 episodes on, kind of in early July. And anyways, Alex and I have, decided to do a little travel series where we're going to basically be sharing some really awesome drone footage from China. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the city of Shanghai. So we're going to start with the city of Shanghai, and we're going to have a really epic video that we're going to drop tomorrow. So as soon as I'm done with this live stream, I'm going to be posting this in the community tab. So make sure that you check in tomorrow. Alex and I are going to both be releasing a new video on Shanghai, where you're going to basically can both of our channels. They're going to be 2 separate videos. You can basically, watch both of them and kind of tell us which one you like better. But we have 2 different angles on, on the city of Shanghai. We have some really crazy good drone footage that we've that we've put together, and we're just basically wanting to kind of diversify the channels a little bit. Kind of also, obviously you guys know that I love making interesting pieces talking about China and its policies, helping more people understand China. I also want to have some fun content on there. You guys saw my last video that I did, which was celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival by giving out mooncakes here in here in Vancouver. So what we're going to do is we're going to also have some of these here. So actually, Alex is here. Reporter Fi Media and Travel. He is commenting. He said, just hi, everybody. It's pretty amazing footage. HL, I like how Cyrus talks about peace. That's my whole goal, guys. I'm all about the peace. So, guys, thank you so much. We're going to end today's session. I want to thank you all for your time today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me here. I love answering your questions, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you to come here on the live stream. And thank you so much. Great question from Yin Ho Kor, big supporter of the channel, was over the moon about the mooncakes too. That was a lot of fun to make that video, and I look forward to bringing in some more different things like that. I want to put out some more videos of me speaking Chinese, me connecting with the Chinese community here in Vancouver, more travel videos, kind of diversifying the channel a little bit. But again, I'm going to end today's session with this. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Thank you for helping us pass 50,000 subscribers. Onwards we go. The next goal is to double this and to get to 100,000. Let's see, as we continue to do it. I'm not really too anal about, I'm not about numbers. I'm more about putting out good content to help people bring together. Again, the thing that you'll hear me say, and I'm going to end it on this: when China and the United States work together, the world wins. It's my job to be that bridge. I'm trying to be that difference that I want to see in the world. I want to see more people understand China. I want to see more people, respect China. And I know that this world is going to be a great one if we can promote this peace. Wang Chenxiao, thank you so much for that super chat, for the super sticker of thank you. Guys, I appreciate all of your support, and we're going to end today's session. Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys in the next video.